Hi, welcome everyone to another episode of Hodl My Coffee, where we discuss about different topics related to the crypto market. As we all know, इस हफ्ते Bitcoin ने $73,000 mark cross कर लिया है, and crypto is at its all-time high season. This means a lot of things to a lot of people. So let's decode this all-time high season with our guest speaker, who is with us today, Mr. Zakhil Suresh, who is the founder and CEO of Bitsave. Hi, Zakhil. Welcome to Hodl My Coffee. Thank you so much for taking out time to join us. Uh, Hello? Zakhil, I'm not able to hear you. No, Varun. It's a live session. It's not a recorded video. I think there's some network issues. He'll be back with us.
Give me like a minute.
Yeah, Zakhil, I think I can hear you. He left.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Hi,
Awesome.
Zakhil.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for taking out time to join us. So, how are you, Zakhil?
Good. Market is up. The communities are active again. So good times.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about this topic that we are going to take up today, that is decoding this ATH. So, Zakil, I know today our topic is very vast, but firstly, I'm really interested in knowing about your journey in Web3. How did you start? What was the spark that ignited your interest in this area and everything else? So, can you please share with us?
Sure. So I guess the term Web3 did not exist when I got started. This was back in 2014 when I was doing my CA internship. That's when I started reading about Bitcoin and crypto. Started investing, in whatever small capacity I could. 2017 is when the market was really booming, and I sense there's an opportunity. That's because for 3 years I was watching the space. So I think all the exchanges in India back then were only selling Bitcoin, if you remember.
Hmm. Yeah.
So so me and a couple of my friends, we started a small Ethereum brokerage service to help people buy and sell Ethereum in India. That's how the journey got started, and then we ended up providing liquidity on all the open order book exchanges that some of the open order book exchanges that came up. Uh, our association with Coinex started that way. Coinex was, in fact, the first multi-asset open order book exchange in India.
Yes.
I was, in fact, the first user of Coinex. Later, joined the team. Was with Coinex throughout the entire journey. Unfortunately, we had to, close down the exchange in 2019. Uh, After that, of course, because my background has been in crypto, so I continued trading, a bit of brokerage, some bit of asset management.
Uh,
And I'm a CMT level 3 trader. Like I've cleared all three levels because of the recent bull market. I've not got the time to, start
Okay.
an application. So I still don't have it with my name, but I've cleared all the three levels. So yeah, that's been. I mean, see, the most satisfying part is that when you're so young, you make a decision, or
Hmm.
you have so much conviction in a technology when literally everyone around you is questioning you. And
True.
10 years later, seeing the Black Rocks and all those people endorsing Bitcoin, that's a very satisfying and a proud moment. So yeah, it's really exciting, I think. And I think the best part is yet to come, you know
True.
yeah.
So, okay, so let's start this session
Sure.
and let's dive straight into the topic. So, Bitcoin is rolling at its all time high. So, what is your perspective? Like, how do you see it?
Personally, I think, like yesterday we were just discussing it. It sort of feels undervalued for some reason. I don't know, like because with all the new participation and all the developments that is happening in the space, I think that's why I said, the best is yet to come. So I think we have a long uh, journey ahead. Personally, for me, when I started in 2014, it was we were just going through that dip after the Silk Road incident. So
Hmm.
there were like significant amount of people who had bought that top around $1,200. Uh,
True.
so in 2017, we saw again it cracking that and reaching a new all-time high. I
True.
think in 2020 again, I was fortunate to be in the industry. Again when we set a new all-time, and now it's again. So personally for me, initially I was just an investor, then I was a trader. Right now I'm building something in the space.
That's
So
great.
yeah. So along with how Bitcoin and the space have evolved, I'm personally happy that me and my team has also evolved, over the last.
Yeah.
So it's very special for us that way because we're actually building something, meaningful for the community this time. So yeah, it feels special.
That's great, great. But I feel since Bitcoin's price has witnessed remarkable highs and like gut wrenching lows and everything in between, so it is very important for everyone to, I think, understand the evolution of Bitcoin's price trends before we get to decode the all-time high season. So since you are an active participator in the market, I think for more than 6 years, so how do you think this ATH is different than the previous ones that have happened?
I think the primary difference comes from the sort of participation that we're seeing, right? I think with all the ETFs that were approved, uh, I think the retail is still a bit, the retail participation is comparatively still lesser. The most of the movements that we saw so far, it's primarily from the institutional investors, right? So I think it's a very different cycle this time, because there's improved regulatory clarity also, if you actually think about it, right? Like let's say 5 years ago, uh, if you take India for that matter, we did not have tax rules, we did not have KYC guidelines, we did not have reporting requirements. So even from, and I think it's not just in India, around the globe also, if you actually think about it, in the last 5 years a lot of countries have regulated crypto. There's a lot of positive things that have happened. So I think there's more serious participants that are entering the space this cycle. So that also makes it basically special. And I think because of these guidelines, what I personally notice right now is that more and more banks are also sort of comfortable working with crypto exchanges. For example, in like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, we literally had to hide the fact that we are doing, right, to get a banking support.
Yeah.
Right now it's fine, like you can actually go walk into a bank and say this is what we do and this is how we're doing. And surprisingly, more than 50% of the banks in India right now are comfortable, giving you a corporate account or any other sort of facility. So I think the industry is of course progressing, and there's more serious institutional participation that is happening. And I think there's a recognition also, right, worldwide, if you think about that, for crypto as a asset, which was probably maybe missing in the last few cycles. And what all the investors need to understand is that it's always going to be cyclical, which means that there will be ups and downs. So you basically have to try to position yourself in
Yeah.
what you do, right? So yeah, that's something which everyone needs to be careful about.
Yeah, but Zakil, I recently came across this news that nowadays individuals have started trading more, and retail investors are kind of playing a significant role in price movements. So, like,
I
what do
think
you?
it might be true for all these meme tokens that really went up in the last, few weeks,
Yes, exactly.
because obviously not institutions are not really buying
Hmm.
those things, right?
Hmm.
What I was trying to say is that see, the interest in the market is
Yeah.
primarily driven by the headlines that come up. Headlines are usually triggered by the large price movements or all time highs, right? So, and if you actually think about it, Bitcoin has reached all time high. Most of the altcoins have not reached all time high. Right?
Hmm.
Which basically shows you that institutions have been buying Bitcoin, and that's why it's been going up. And the retail, of course, because of that particular reason, they have been participating in other assets, which were triggering the prices of other assets as well, right?
Okay.
So, but what I'm trying to tell you is that since we observe the data on exchanges,
Hmm.
track the social media data, activity data, it's nowhere from a retail perspective. The noise is nowhere near what we saw like 3-4 years back. So
True.
that's why, and even personally, when we keep looking at how many people are reaching out to us,
Yeah.
like for asking help to buy Bitcoin. Right?
Yeah.
Even that number is not that great. I mean, that not significant at this point in time. So I feel that participation is not as much as it should be. And I think even a couple of days back, RBI governor was also saying the same thing, like the sort of retail activity that crypto was viewing in the last cycle. We are not really
Hmm.
seeing that right now. So of course, people, there is participation. If you look at it, all the volumes are up on almost
Hmm.
all the exchanges,
Hmm.
but it's not yet reached the level what we were seeing when
True.
market went crazy a couple of years back.
Hmm. So, Zakil, I feel us Indians are all informed about crypto and this whole system that is there. But do you think we Indians are educated about crypto and how to do the trading, the statistics, the analysis? Do you think we do that like that, or it's just like a hype that is going on? What is your opinion?
I think it's a mix of both. Like I personally feel that uh, educating people about each and every crypto. I don't know how practical that is. To be
Hmm.
very, I mean, to give you a simple example, if someone actually learned about Ethereum maybe 4 years ago,
Hmm.
right now you have a different Ethereum, right?
True.
So it's not really. And I've had the smartest of people come to me and say that they're not able to keep up with how the industry is evolving, and even we find it difficult. Even after spending 24/7 within the
Okay.
industry, we find it difficult to keep up with the sort of development that are happening in
Okay.
different categories. So I think maybe educating people as a let's say educating people as a prerequisite to make them invest or trade, I'm not very sure, but uh, whoever is getting into trading, it's important to learn at least the basics. I mean, trading itself is a different game. I mean, investing and trading are two different things, right? So whoever is starting to trade, I think it's important that you at least know the basics, like
True.
basic risk management, the sort of volatility a particular asset has, so that you can position yourself accordingly and you can plan your trades accordingly, right? So
Hmm.
someone coming without, see, I've seen people just seeing crypto going up, coming up, starting with 100x leverage and then just getting liquidated.
Hmm. Hmm.
That is basically the lack of awareness, the lack of understanding of how the asset class basically functions. So I think from that perspective, people have to be, especially the traders, need to be aware of things. But I think from a long term investing perspective, maybe just pick fundamentally strong assets and just stay invested. I think it's important that you stay invested in the market rather than trying to time the market,
Okay.
especially the I think what we are gonna see over the next few years in
Hmm.
crypto was that something similar to that dial-up to broadband phase that we had for internet, right?
Okay.
There is going to be mass adoption. There's going to be real world use cases, and we are all going to end up using crypto and blockchain without realizing that we are interacting with it. That's a sort of
Great.
heading to that. So in that way, basically, so it's important, if you're looking long term, stay invested.
Hmm.
Just pick things that you feel is fundamentally strong, and just stay invested. I mean, you don't have to. I've seen people trying to trade each move, but it's practically not possible. That's not something that I think, especially if you have a day job for that matter.
Okay.
You don't think it's something that you should ideally be attempting.
Yeah.
Just keep investing, and leave it for the next 5-10 years.
Okay, so there are many people who have just started trading or are very new to this market, and everybody's like hyped up about the halving that is going to happen. So I would like to ask you this question: like, if you want to make someone like relatively new understand how, like, what is the long term outlook of this big Bitcoin that is going to happen?
I think it's a supply demand scenario that we are looking at,
Yeah.
right? And on one side, you so let's maybe take example of things that have gone wrong. For example, a Zimbabwean currency.
Hmm.
Right now it's basically valueless. The
Hmm.
reason being that the government, when you start printing, and
Hmm.
there's no enough demand coming for that currency, and the value of that currency keeps going down, right? So on the other hand, the idea of Bitcoin is that you don't have, you have a capped supply, right? So because of that, the supply is always going to be limited. So as currently, I think there's just 4 or 5% of global adoption for crypto. And how, looking at how things are progressing, you're going to have more people participating in this space. But regardless of whoever comes, or how many
Yeah.
number of people come, how many Black Rocks come, at the end
Hmm.
of the day, it's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin, right? So it's just a basic economics playing here. uh,
Okay.
I think what people need to understand is that if there is an increasing demand,
Hmm.
and there's maybe a fixed supply,
Yeah.
basically that's going to reflect in the price in a upward way, right? So
Okay.
that is the long term outlook for crypto, I mean, specific to Bitcoin. Yeah.
So, Zakil, one of our audience has asked this question. So, please explain what is halving Bitcoin. Can you just go ahead with
Sure,
it?
sure, sure. So, Bitcoin as a software, it is designed in a way that whenever a block is created, there's a certain number of new Bitcoins that are generated as a reward to miners who are supporting the system. So that
Hmm.
is, for all the machines that are linked to the Bitcoin software to verify and make sure that the system is running. So the system itself rewards these miners with a particular number of newly generated Bitcoins. So currently per block, that number is 6.25 Bitcoins. So
Yes.
approximately every 10 minutes, 6.25 Bitcoins are generated and distributed among these miners. So
Yes.
every 4 years, approximately, the mining rewards becomes half. So
Hmm.
what it basically means is that probably in the next 30-35 days, in a day, or let's say in 10 minutes, the number of new Bitcoins that are created would come down to 3.125. Right. Currently, I guess this around 900 Bitcoin that are generated, new
Okay.
Bitcoin that are generated every day.
Hmm.
Probably in the next one or 2 months, that number is going to be around 500 or 450 for that matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically means that the new supply of Bitcoin is going to basically become half. That is why it's called halving. So it happens every 4 years.
Okay. So, when is this next going to happen? Can you just tell our
That's
audience?
probably going to be in 2028. So
Okay.
approximately it's
Cool.
4 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So I have another question. So like stock market gets affected by many factors. So how do you see like broader macroeconomic factors like inflation, rates, and global economic events impacting the possibility of an 80th season?
See, I think at the end of the day, it's human emotions. Actually, if you see, it's all the price is decided by the market participants, right? There's a significant correlation most of the times between stock market and crypto markets because basically the same people trading both the
Hmm.
market. Emotions are more or less the same, right?
Hmm.
If you actually look at it from an interest rate perspective, whenever the interest rate goes up, uh, risky asset classes like stock, like crypto, it becomes less attractive because you're able to earn a higher interest rate without taking any risk. If
True.
interest rates are high, so ideally a low interest rate, a period is good for crypto.
Hmm.
Currently, I guess we are at a 20-year high. When it
Oh,
comes to interest rates, if I'm not wrong.
okay.
Which basically means that the market is, expecting, or people, let's say, we all are expecting the Fed to at some point start reducing the interest rates. So it came to a surprise. Primarily, people are not expecting this kind of a run by post, let's say. Uh, Personally speaking, we were expecting the Bitcoin to range a bit, after the ETF approval around towards the halving. That's how historically it's happened. But like I was mentioning in the beginning, right? The institutional participation really triggered whatever the move that we're seeing right now.
Okay.
Basically, uh, so I think once the interest rate starts dropping, it's going to be like
Hmm.
a positive thing for all the asset classes. But on the other hand, I think most of the markets are at all-time high right now. Like you take Nifty for that matter, if you take S&P 500 for that matter, it's all at all-time high. So there's high valuation, and I think and this year is in fact a very important year, right? Because
Hmm.
there are major elections happening in
Yeah.
countries this year. So uh, what we are essentially looking at is a from a directional perspective, it's going to be positive based on the conditions that we are in right now. But it's going to be extreme volatility as well because there's a lot of uncertainty, that elections can bring to the economy, right? And crypto as a highly volatile asset class, I think we are entering into a phase of extreme volatility. Like already we are seeing around like 10-15% move up and down each day,
Yeah.
right? So I think the trend is going to be up, but it's important that be prepared for, especially traders, be prepared for extreme volatility going ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the audience has asked the most, I think, asked question: Will India legalize crypto?
No, I think the question should be, will India regulate crypto? Right. I think
That's a
uh,
very
I so I think, see, personally, this is my opinion. I feel that until something is termed illegal, right?
okay.
There's no harm in calling it legal. So, right. So, what I'm trying to tell you is that if there's a law which says that crypto is illegal or
Yeah.
crypto should not be used, then it is illegal. But if
Okay.
there is no law, I don't think you basically have to question the legality aspect of it. See, you're not going to be put in jail for buying crypto or trading in crypto. The question that needs to be asked is, will India regulate crypto? So
Yeah.
regulation is basically a way to protect investors, protect users, right? Actually, if you look at it, stock market is a regulated,
True.
industry.
True.
Uh,
True. Yes. Absolutely.
Mutual fund is a regulated industry,
Yeah.
and all these banks are regulated industry. So that is because without a regulation, it's difficult for. I mean, so it's also a responsibility of the government to protect the investors or the retail at the end of the day, right? So regulation is just a set of guidelines that the market participants have to follow.
Yeah.
So actually, if you look at it, the including crypto as part of PMLA was the first step towards it. If you
Yeah.
actually think about it, right?
Yes.
Right now, we have to report the transaction just like any other banks. We have to do the KYC just like any other banking or NBFC out there. So I think that is step one. Now what we essentially need is a bill
Hmm.
that regulates this industry. Like, let's say, for example, if you look at Dubai, for that matter,
Hmm. Hmm.
Dubai, what they've done is that they've created a bill or a legal framework which says that if you want to operate a crypto service providing entity in Dubai, you come and take a license,
Okay.
subject to these conditions.
Okay.
I think as we speak, India is already working on the bill. Uh, if you remember, the IMF had released a synthesis paper, for a
Okay.
stating, maybe banning is not really the right
Hmm.
approach. It should be, regulated. So I
Hmm.
think most of the G20 countries are right now creating a bill based on that particular paper that came out. But obviously, this year it's election, so I don't know if it's practical to expect any sort of improvement in that direction. But I'm pretty sure in the next 2 to 3 years, we'll at least have some sort of a progress in terms of this industry being regulated, and this
Yeah.
proper licensing requirement, proper maybe I'm not very sure of like recourses. Let's say in a bank, if bank goes down, you can basically go and claim like 5 lakhs from the RBI, right? So I'm not sure if those kind of things are going to come to crypto, but at least from a investor protection point of view, like, for example, an exchange should not commingle the funds, for that matter. For example, what happened in FTX is that they started using user funds for something else, right? If
Oh.
we think about it. So let's say if there were proper regulations in place, maybe that wouldn't be possible. It's all
Hmm.
about protecting the users at the end of the day, and I guess we're moving in that direction as we speak.
Hmm. True. True. So, talking about regulations, I think what comes to my mind is SEBI. And recently, SEBI chief said that the sizable part of the market could move to the crypto market. So, what is your opinion on this?
So I told about 2014, right, when I started. So what really interested me, what it clicked, because on one hand, while I was doing my CA internship, I was dealing with SBI net banking,
Huh.
for moving the client funds,
Huh.
and it was extremely slow. You can't. You
Yeah.
basically need to, when you add a beneficiary, you have to wait for 24 hours. Weekend, you can't even get a beneficiary activated. Let's say you enter the password 3 times wrong, you can't do anything for next 24 hours. It was
True.
extremely painful, and that is a point at which I read about Bitcoin, and I'm like, borderless, 24/7, no one to control. It made a lot of sense, and I guess it's the same thing that as a generation right now, where everything is at fingertips, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have an app to do everything for you. I think we people love instant gratification these days.
That's
So
true.
maybe, and as a generation that is so used to getting things done faster, uh, from an investment perspective also, there's no it's very fair to demand, like, the
Hmm.
fact
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
have easy access to things,
True.
right? So and I believe that whenever we meet youngsters, most of them have that inclination to crypto, because I think it's a lot easy to get started. Most importantly, it's a lot easy to get crypto in your personal wallet as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so it gives you a sense of ownership, the fact that you don't really have to depend on
Hmm.
anyone.
True.
So it is the statement SEBI chief made is very relevant, and I think it also, we also have to start an important conversation there on how these two industries can coexist, right?
Oh.
I think tokenization is a good way where, let's say, uh, it's easier. So let's say it brings the transparency part, it's all for the reconciliation part, so that even they can settle things faster. So what I'm trying to tell you is that, if we start tokenizing the funds or securities,
Hmm.
it will be a lot. The settlement can be a lot faster,
Hmm.
compared to doing the traditional way. I mean,
Yeah.
just think about banking itself, right?
Yeah.
It's so painful if you try to move funds
True.
globally. It's not
Absolutely.
like, it's extremely painful, like, and the high fees, because there's multiple banks in multiple countries, multiple ledgers trying to interact with each other. Imagine if it's a common ledger, and it all gets instantly settled,
Yeah.
right? So it's I think every regulator, every financial institution have to explore. I mean, it's not about using crypto, but I think at least the technology, the blockchain technology can really help them to deliver things faster and improve the experience, right, going ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the audience has asked this question. After Bitcoin halving, what is the mining cost of one Bitcoin in India?
Uh, Varun, I don't really know because I'm not much into the mining, But if I'm not wrong, the current cost is around some 60 lakhs or something in that range. So basically, after mining, it would be more than 1 crore to mine one Bitcoin, if my knowledge is correct.
Yeah. So one more audience, Sarthak has mentioned, what are some common misconceptions about cryptocurrency among Indians, and how do you address them?
I think the common misconception is that crypto is illegal in India.
True.
We keep hearing, isn't this illegal? Why are you, building something in the space?
True. True.
I think it dates back to that one speech Mr. Arun Jaitley made in 2018, where he said that crypto is not a legal tender in India, right?
Yeah.
So I think that some wrong misquoting happened, and people started believing that it means that it is illegal. What it basically means is that let's say if I pay in crypto to someone, there's no legal validity to it, right? So
Mhm.
and I think in fact INR is the only legal tender in India.
True.
Gold is not a legal tender. USD is not a legal tender. So, but then people took it in a wrong way, and of course, with the media reporting things in a very tricky way, that also adds to these kind of things. So, I think that is number one. Second is the fact that of course, it's backed by nothing, which people
Yeah.
look for, they're like,
Some kind of
you're so
security.
used to that physical aspect of things, but
Yeah.
what we need to understand is that Apple as a company
Yeah.
that owns just the idea, just the intellectual property of
Mm.
the phones and the MacBooks that they create is, like, I think 5x valued than compared to the company that is creating the products for Apple, right? Which basically means, it's fine not to have anything
Yeah.
that you can see or touch, but it's about the technology that that actually adds value, right? So, and in fact, if you think about it, Bitcoin is backed by mathematics. There's
Yes.
proper algorithm that is backing it, and I think
Yeah.
that is the most beautiful part of it. Like, people keep saying that there's no central authority, and that is the most beautiful part of Bitcoin, right? You don't have to
Yeah.
depend.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, in, I think, couple of years back, I got a video edited by someone in Iran. He sent me an invoice. It's video edit. I'm not doing anything illegal. He sent me an invoice. I go to the bank and say that I want to wire, like a few, like
Mm.
200, $300 to this guy. And they're like, we can't. There's no channel to send funds to this particular country.
Oh,
And the only way I could pay him was through crypto, right?
okay.
Because he was ready, he was willing to accept it, and that's how we settle money, right? So I think it's completely wrong to think that something that doesn't have a central authority, it's not going to work. I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
coin has been doing that beautifully, and the fact that you don't have to trust anyone, that is the most beautiful part. uh,
Yeah.
Addressing these things, it's all about creating awareness. Whenever I uh, with my limited time, whenever I spend on in community chat groups, the
Mm-hmm.
sort of lack of awareness of the sort of misinformation that spreads, it's insane. The sort of theories about taxation, theories about a lot of things. It's very scary also. Like, I mean, like, we're like, regardless of how much content that we're putting out or how much we are trying to do, this people are still very, very unaware of a lot of things. So
Yeah.
as a community who are part of this, we have that responsibility, right?
Mm.
To uh,
Spread the
spread the right information. I've seen senior people in TradFi, their eyes popping after like a 30-minute conversation. Like, maybe it's the first time that they're hearing what a Bitcoin does, or what exactly a Ethereum does. Because there's a lot of noise with the prices. It's going
Yeah.
up, down. But I think we really don't talk about how beautiful the technology behind it is. I mean, the fact that you can settle money instantaneously
Yes.
around the globe without depending on anyone, that
Yeah.
is insane, right? So I think people need to appreciate that more, instead of just looking at
Yeah.
how your portfolio is performing.
Yeah, true. So yeah, so one of the other audience, Thamil Slow, has question that does it make sense to trade crypto with all the TDS and taxes at 30%?
um, I think active trading is a bit tricky, honestly,
Yeah.
because I think there's enough with that 1% going away. Maybe you can add to it, because you guys have figured out a solution to this. But I think spot trading with 1% going away, actively trading, I'm not very sure
Hmm.
how you can do it. Swing trading, yes, it's still fine. Long term investing, of course, yes. I mean, just look at the math. I've seen people staying away saying that it's 30% tax, but if you actually look at it, right, like if you take a crypto index for that matter, Bloomberg has a crypto index, and the
Yes.
last 4 year CAGR is something around 80% or something. So
Yeah.
even after 30% tax, you end up making money that no other asset class would have given you,
Yeah.
right? So I think investing completely it makes sense, but active trading with 1% TDS, I'm a bit, I have my concerns.
Yeah, I think for in our platform also we have this trade with INR pairs, and you don't have to pay taxes. So I think, Thamil, you can try our platform and let us know if you find it user friendly or not.
Yeah.
So, like at our platform 542, crypto INR pair is helping a lot of traders move to Indian exchanges. As it is, like I said, it's tax efficient. So, what are the other things you think will improve the crypto adoption index in India, especially cities beyond the metros?
No, I think what is important is that we create the right journey for these people. Like I was saying, right, maybe expecting people to learn about every crypto in depth before buying their first or making their first investment, it may not be a practical thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think at some point we as an industry started creating complicated products. I don't know if you agree with it. Like, the most of the products that started coming out, they
Hmm.
were not really beginner friendly. We started making things that are maybe suited for people who are well versed with MetaMask or DeFi or things like that. But someone who doesn't understand what a private key is, someone who doesn't understand what a MetaMask is, like, I don't know if we were creating the right products and right journey for them. Like, so we are very glued to the community, and then we keep meeting many people who are actively allocating funds to mutual funds, real estate for that matter. uh, Now the challenge for them, we keep hearing them saying that we want to allocate to crypto, but we don't have the time, we don't have the knowledge of how these particular each asset works. So, I mean, at least what we have done at Bitsave is basically make trying to create a journey that is extremely simple. What
Okay.
we have done is that just like Nifty 50,
Hmm.
there's an index, like I was mentioning, there's a Bloomberg's crypto index basically, which Bloomberg manage. We've taken the license from Bloomberg to replicate that on Bitsave. So what essentially someone coming to Bitsave has to do is they don't have to do the research, because Bloomberg already does that for them. Right? Bloomberg has created a portfolio with Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever they think are fundamentally strong. You put whatever money that you want to put, and it automatically goes to those particular tokens. Right. So that and we've been, I think, fortunate to have a lot of first-time investors on the platform. Like, people have never had exposure to crypto before, because they're finding this particular journey, a particular product, very simple. Like, they don't have to, they're not bothered about like hundreds of tokens to choose from. having to do the research, having to construct their own portfolio. So I think it's important to create the right journey for that untapped market. And people look for familiarity. People look for, let's say, I think in India you have more than 50-60 million people buying mutual funds. So if you're able to create a journey that is similar to that with the sort of same experience, more people find it comfortable, right? So SIP is a great way. I think
Yeah.
many exchanges are doing it right now. So, and at the same time, talk a bit about the broader technology. You don't have to get into the specifics of each
Yeah.
particular asset, but how it makes sense. I mean, I think I'm yet to find someone who hates Bitcoin after fully understanding what Bitcoin is. Most of the people who talks bad about crypto Bitcoin are mainly mostly people who've not understood what the technology is. Just seeing people make noise in Telegram or Twitter for that matter. I mean, that's not crypto. There's so much beyond that. So I think as an industry also we need to send the right messages, send the right vibes also, so that more people find it. And for us it's about, it's never about crypto versus something else.
Okay.
I think at some point we also created that narrative, right? Like crypto is, I think it's all about coexisting. How it's important, how crypto can fit into your overall portfolio. Like
Yeah.
maybe saying that maybe not allocate more than 10% of
Yeah.
your overall net worth to crypto. So that way you stay diversified, and then you have enough a decent exposure to crypto. Maybe start with 1 or 2%, figure out how things work, figure out how the volatility works, and if you're comfortable, start adding. So
Yeah.
I think maybe avoid these kind of mistakes, like going all in, because someone, your neighbor made 100x in 2 weeks. So I think it's about just stick to the basics at the end of the day. I mean, I think people, there's a saying that it's easy to make money, but the difficulty is in managing the money. Right.
Yes. True. Very true.
It's about, I think it's about people try to complicate it. It's all about sticking to the basics, and it's the same basics that you need to apply to crypto as well. Just stay invested, and make sure that and see, everyone has a different journey, but what is important is that you understand the risk also. Like, we talk a lot about the upside of crypto. What's important is that you understand the downside, and so that you can position accordingly, right? So yeah.
So I really love this idea of this crypto market, coexisting with all the other things in your portfolio. I think that will be
Yeah.
my takeaway.
Yeah.
And we have this question from Varun. Please launch your iOS. Oh yes, Varun, we will be launching our iOS version very soon, and it will be announced. And we hope that you will be one of the first people who will be downloading it and using it. So, if any other audience has any other questions who are watching us, I think that's it. Yeah, anyway, so to conclude this session, what we are witnessing is, I think, a dynamic revolution in the financial markets that will, I think, alter the future of investing in the world and especially in India, hopefully, in the
Yeah.
coming. So, thank you so much, Zakhil, for sharing your insights, and it was great interacting with you.
Thanks for
So,
having me. It was
yeah,
lovely.
thank you, everyone, for joining in and engaging with us. Stay connected to us through all our social media channels. Thank you, Zakhil. Have a
Should we take that question?
Yeah, I think we got another question. So why Binance banned in India?
Yeah. So I think banned, maybe not the right word. I think the right word is blocked. Right.
Okay.
So just to give the overall picture, or the overall context, right? We already discussed about crypto service providers being as part of the PMLA, the
Hmm.
Prevention of Money Laundering Act. And
Hmm.
any entity that is offering crypto related services to Indian audience, Indian residents basically, are required to register as a reporting entity with Financial Intelligence Unit of India. So which basically means that they have to share data, like
Okay.
high value transactions,
Hmm.
suspicious transactions, things like that. Now, this, I think, more than 35 entities, including Pi42, have registered with FIU.
Yes.
But exchanges like Binance or OKX, KuCoin for that matter, they've not registered with FIU.
Okay.
So it's a it's a compliance flow actually, because it's a requirement to operate as a crypto service provider in India, or at least to provide services to Indian entities, right? Sorry, Indian audience basically. So since these exchanges have not complied, and since they're doing significant volume, FIU has sent them a notice, and also have blocked the websites, because since it's a requirement to operate in India, since they've not met that requirement, there is a block basically.
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
have to wait and watch how they respond, whether they're gonna comply. Maybe if
Yeah.
they do, then the block is gonna be taken off.
Hmm. So I hope, Thamil, that answers your question. Any more questions by any more audience? Uh, I think that's it.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
Great interacting with you. Thank you.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Have a good night.